Hey, it's Tuesday night, the 15th of July, 2025. It's now 10 after 10 p.m. in the evening. Sky dark is now upon us. What we're seeing here is obviously a globular cluster to the lower right. There's a faint galaxy right up here to the upper left. This is the distance between NGC6207, almost 12th magnitude galaxy in Hercules, and the very bright, I think it's about 5.8 magnitude Messier 13. I thought we would start with this view tonight, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to plow through a few studies and then go on to the Higson Galaxy Group 79, hopefully under what I'm seeing are better conditions tonight than the smoke-ridden skies of the last evening. So there's our view at 2 seconds exposure using ASI imaging, not stacking. And maybe I'm going to switch over to that now. We're going to go to a 5-second view. Okay, let's gather some particulars. First, in the upper left-hand corner is NGC6207, Galaxy in Hercules, magnitude 11.6. 3 by 1.2 arc minutes, fairly large for such a almost 12th magnitude galaxy. It is 38 million light years distant, which doesn't make it very large, maybe 25 to 30,000 light years in diameter. We're at right ascension 16 hours, 43 minutes, 3 seconds, with a declination of plus 36 degrees, 49 minutes and 55 seconds. The view is quite good, lots of texture. And there is that star that happens to be line of sight right over the center of the galaxy. Meanwhile, at the lower right, we are getting a 5-second or approximately a 24-inch scope view, and that's looking pretty spectacular. The night sky is pretty clear and transparent tonight. Of Messier 13 globular cluster in Hercules, magnitude 5.8, 23.2 arc minutes in size, and 25,100 light years distant. And if I can remember my equation, we could determine the size of it, but I'll have to implement that tomorrow because I don't have time to think it through. It's at right ascension 16 hours, 41 minutes, 41 seconds, with a declination of plus 36 degrees, 27 minutes, and 37 seconds. A very nice view of both of these deep sky studies. One a mere 25,000 light years distant, and the other closer to about, I believe it was 60. Maybe it was 30 because it was about 25,000 light years in diameter. Moving on. The main objective for tonight was to tour the Higson Galaxy Group number 79. Now, to give you an idea, obviously the brightest galaxy is more or less edge on here. The second one is more of a oblate or spheroid here. Then we have several other galaxies extended off to the right, which we barely picked out last night. Above, there is an obvious galaxy right here. So now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 galaxies in the Higson Galaxy Group, which was also a septenate. I'm not sure the astronomer, I think it was Seyfert, who discovered that there were 7 galaxies in this group, which we are going to have a chance to look at this evening. I've already set up, pretty much got a decent setup, maybe a little on the histogram. That's pretty good right there. Darken the background sky a little bit. We're starting to lose the fainter galaxies. The faintest galaxy is magnitude 16, and the brightest is around 14. So we have a range of 2 magnitudes in brightness. The full extent of HCG79 is quite present before us. And it's a view that Steve Gottlieb described through a 48-inch telescope, and I do believe this is somewhat comparable, although he used twice the magnification. Currently, we are operating at 80%, 50% represents about 150x. You add another half. So we're operating at about 225x at this time. Sky is very dark. There's no moon, no clouds. So there is some light being reflected from the town of John Day back in. I am not using any kind of filter. And we are getting pretty good results with that. So let's go through the galaxies in sequence. All right, this to my eye is the brightest of the galaxies. It's NGC6027 in Serpens, magnitude 14.3, 1.9 by 1 arc minutes, and 204 million light years distant. This particular galaxy is probably somewhere around 115 to 120,000 light years in diameter, larger than our Milky Way, but smaller than Messier 31. All of these galaxies are within, except for the line of sight faint galaxy here, are generally within about 19 or 20,000 light years of each other, which is roughly twice the size of our own local group of galaxies, which is about 10 million light years in diameter. NGC 6027 is at right ascension 15 hours, 59 minutes, 12 seconds, has a declination of plus 20 degrees, 45 minutes, 47 seconds. It is well into the sky's middle third. I would like to point out that, as I recall, this is our north over to here, and our south there, our east and our west. So it's almost as though we're observing this galaxy from the west, looking across it to the east. To our left is the north, and to our right is the south. The second galaxy is actually listed as brighter than the first. This is NGC 6027A. It's the first in the series of lettered galaxies in the Seyfert septenate. NGC 6027A is much smaller, 0.7 by 0.5 arc minutes, has a magnitude of 13.9. And frankly, I do not think the core of NGC 6027A is quite as bright as the core of 6027. It's a spiral of class A, 197 million light years distant. Quite small then, probably somewhere around 50,000 light years in diameter. It's at right ascension 15 hours, 59 minutes, 11 seconds, with a declination of plus 20 degrees, 45 minutes, and 17 seconds. Our third galaxy is NGC 6027b, part of the Seyfert group. Magnitude 15.5, 0.4 by 0.3 arc minutes distant, spiral with a lowercase a, once removed from the lenticular, a fully mature spiral galaxy type, 187 million light years distant. We're at right ascension 15 hours, 59 minutes, 10 seconds, with a declination of plus 20 degrees, 45 minutes, and 43 seconds. I suspect that at magnitude 15.5, it is probably this galaxy right over here. So you got a line of 3 galaxies here. So this is going to be B, and you got a line of 3 galaxies here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there's a 7th, and I believe it's located right down there, but I'll have to check on the manana. NGC 6027C is, I believe, the faintest of these galaxies. Magnitude 16, 0.9 by 0.2 arc minutes, spiral with a lowercase c, 207 million light years distant. Right ascension 15 hours, 59 minutes, 11 seconds, with a declination of plus 20 degrees, 44 minutes, and 49 seconds. Given its magnitude, I suspect it's either this, or this galaxy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I do believe the 7th is located right around here once again, but I am once again not clear. I will have to map it out on the manana. Steve Gottlieb's site is very good for that purpose. I have also looked at the skylive.com and traced everything out. I gave full detailed information in last night's video, but we did not get the view we're getting now, which I believe is comparable to Steve Gottlieb's eyepiece views at 48 inches in aperture. Now, Galaxy D is not really part of this galaxy group. It is NGC6027D in Serpens, magnitude 15.5, very, very small, 0.2 by 0.2 arc minutes, a spiral with some peculiarities. And that really doesn't square for me with the fact that this galaxy right here, quite apparent, 6027D, lies at a distance of 885 million light years. It has a location in our sky of 15 hours and 59 minutes 13 seconds and a declination of plus 20 degrees 45 minutes and 35 seconds. So basically we started here, we dropped to there. I believe we went on to this galaxy here, but I think we covered that one. That would have been, this is D, and then we're going to go on from there. Once again, very, very faint, small galaxy. Its size is probably somewhere around, let's see, 450, 150, 30, probably around 50,000 light years in diameter. NGC6027E is a galaxy in Serpens. It should be our last galaxy. Let's see, we got one without a letter A, B, C, D, E. No, that'll be our sixth galaxy. It is magnitude 13.4. No, it is not. 0.8 by 0.4 arc minutes, lenticular spiral, 193 million light years distant. So it lies within that 20 million light year range. At right ascension, 15 hours, 59 minutes, 14 seconds, plus 20 degrees, 45 minutes, and 58 seconds. And if you really do map out its location on the screen, you would be able to almost definitively determine which galaxy is which. Once again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, with a potential seventh. I am not clear where it may be located at this point. Okay, our final views of this series, as you can well see, are much deeper. We've gone to 30-second exposure time, roughly 50 or 60-inch eyepiece view of these galaxies. I thought there was supposed to be 7, but I'm only counting 6. However, there may be a faint member possibly located there, but I'll have to map it out. This, of course, once again, is the Seyfert septenate, and that means 7. We are seeing all the galaxies well presented. They are a little out of focus. We are pretty much eliminating duplication on the screen. There seems to be a faint remnant. I am going to let this run for a while because I do believe that it should be able to eliminate any duplicities and sharpen up the images of the galaxies. And while I let this run, and it may very well be the last imaging of the evening unless I discover something in my wanderings adventitiously I wish to share it. So let's go ahead. I'm going to play with the histogram just slightly to see if I can bring things out. I did not incorporate noise reduction, so let me take care of that now. Okay. So I am going to try to balance out the view, both details and aesthetics. I did set the focus of the scope as best as I was able before I began this series. And however, we are operating at something close to 250x. There is some blurification in the image. However, the ZWO system is supposed to be able to resolve down to 0.5 arc seconds at 100% zoom. I am not operating at 100% zoom. I can, however, push it to 100% zoom, and let us see how this develops. 100% zoom would be about 300x. 6 of the galaxies are well present and easily identified. The 7th could be this faint little study right here. So, but look at the shape of that. Really does look like an L, also like a bird with its wings expanded behind its back. Actually, a very pretty configuration of galaxies. Keep in mind, we are operating at 30 seconds exposure time. I'm going to let it do one more pass, and then we will either move on to something else, or I will have bowed out saying Carpe Noctem. All right, we're on to our last series of studies, probably only last a couple minutes. What we're looking at here is a planetary nebula I turned up last night adventitiously, NGC6058 in Hercules. Its R is magnitude 13, its central star magnitude 13.9. It's a mere 25 by 20 arc seconds in size, quite distant, 11,500 light years. Given the relative brightness between the central star and its nebulosity, this is a fairly young planetary, I would expect. It's at right ascension 16 hours, 4 minutes, 26 seconds, declination plus 40 degrees, 40 minutes, and 58 seconds. We're probably getting a small amount of aperture block because it's pretty much overhead, and we are operating at the same 30-second exposure time. What I'm going to do now is flip the scope, and we're going to have a look at NGC6888, the Crescent Nebula. I did not get a very good view of it the first time I attempted it. It was pretty low, but it was also not a particularly good night sky with the moon. I am not using a nebula filter, so no guarantees on this. Next study. Okay, folks, we're starting out with a 2-second exposure, which is about roughly, 1 second would be a 12-inch scope, 2 seconds would add maybe about a 16 to an 18-inch aperture scope at the eyepiece. Wonderful stellar location. This distorted Cepheus-shaped group of stars is typical of the Crescent Nebula stellar region, so that's pretty clear to me. We're operating at this 2-second interval of image captures using the stacking function of ASI Live. We're seeing quite a bit of nebulosity, but only the brightest backbone parts of it. We're not seeing any of the filamentation. This exposure time is roughly equivalent to what I used to do with the Rev 2 at half its sensitivity, and it was typically about 2.5 seconds exposure time. Why don't we go ahead and push it now a little bit more? We'll go to 5 seconds, which basically should be the equivalent of about a 25 or 30-inch scope view. We're bringing out more of the nebulosity here. Unfortunately, we're not seeing we're getting the complete sweep of it now. I do believe we are missing part of the nebulosity because I am not using a nebula filter. I'll have to see if I can't mount one. I did purchase one, but I only have used it with the 6-inch fast F4 Nuke El Quattro, but we are making out the extent of it. I've been relying more on the histogram lately to bring out faint detail, and that particular setting right there is actually showing some color. Let's go ahead now and go to 10-second exposure time. Okay, here we have our first stack of NGC6888. We're getting the backbone, we're getting some nice textural detail, we're getting a bit of color, we're getting rouge, a little rougey color there. We're getting some extensive nebulosity. There's a break here, but we're showing a little island of nebulosity there. So at 10 seconds, we are starting to show kind of the level of detail we were starting to catch in the Rev 2 system at 128 flood, 42 decibels of sensitivity. Now the next question is, can we really get it to pop by just adding a little magnification? and that has always helped with galaxies. So yes, we are bringing out some more texture by using additional magnification. Let's push it to 30 seconds and see if we can really bring out the kind of texture that is eye-popping. However, we may get duplication of stars, and that would be largely because I've moved a little bit, changing the pressure on the observatory floor. Wow. This is a very good view. We're getting true color on it. We're getting a sense of nebulosity that extends well out beyond the asterism I used to define it at the eyepiece. We're also getting a satellite passage. We're getting real serious texture and no doubling of the stars. This is quite spectacular, folks. I am very pleased with this. Let's push the magnification up to encompass basically a 150x view of the Crescent Nebula. Give you some data. NGC6207 Nebula in Cygnus, magnitude 10 overall, but I would wager at 20 by 10 arc minutes, its average surface brightness is about 14 to 15. It is an emissive type nebula, and that makes sense because we're seeing the red color. That means these neighboring lights are ionizing the gases in space, and those gases are based on oscillation of electrons in the outer orbitals, are actually radiating their own special color of light in the red end of the spectrum. The nebulosity is 4,800 light years distant. It's got right ascension 20 hours, 12 minutes, 6 seconds with a declination of plus 38 degrees, 21 minutes and 17 seconds. It's in the sky's middle third. We are not getting any obstruction whatsoever of the objective lens. Now dare we attempt to do a 60-second exposure on this, because we have not caused enough disturbance of the stars to lose it. Well, folks, I cannot believe it. By sitting mouse-like still, I have been able to avoid doubling up of the stars in the field. Everything is stacked really well. We've only completed a single stack at this point of 60 seconds. The view is only slightly better, and I cannot tell you how at 60 seconds over 30 seconds, but we've really only added about 0.8 magnitudes in additional depth. The stellar region is fantastic. The nebulosity itself, quite extensive, tremendous amount of texture in it. With a filter, a nebula filter, we probably would do even better. However, I am very completely satisfied with this view, and we will push the magnification to 50% at f8 using the 150 millimeter Skywatcher refractor, ED refractor. That is a very, very solidly beautiful view. Stellar components look good. There's only a little distension in their size. I'm going to continue talking until we get our third pass at 60 seconds and hope that the Microsoft snipping tool hasn't truncated this video. If it has, I will once again have to repeat, but only at 60 seconds. You will have lost the views at the shorter time exposures earlier. So with that, I am going to say carpe noctem and determine whether or not we have gotten the last 8 minutes and 15 seconds of video featuring Crescent Nebula, NGC 6207.